Alright, new toy time. MSI Gaming X Trio 4090 GPU. Let's talk about some stupid mistakes that I've made around the computer. We'll put this in and hopefully see some God of War, some Spider-Man running at native 4K, ultra settings, 120 FPS and all that. So I wasn't able to pick up a 4090 when they went on sale last year, and I kind of debated it for a while. I had the 3090 Ti running kind of capably in the gaming PC for quite a while there. I think I bought that thing like last spring, mid-year or so last year. But as it turns out, that was probably one of the worst gaming home theater tech purchases that I've ever made. I paid on the order of $2,300 for that 3090 Ti. I didn't really need it, and I ended up selling it here when I bought this 4090 for an abysmal $850, 67% give or take loss. Quite a lot of money just wasted. So let it be the lesson to the early adopters. I got stung in this case. I should have just kept, from the moment I bought my original 3090 when the 30 series went on sale, I should have just stuck with that and used it all the way until this guy came into my hands. So I'm going to try my best to do that now. I'm going to try my best to put this in the PC and enjoy it and ignore whatever 4090 Super or 4090 comes along and just stick to the major releases, 5090, 6090, 7090, when they come out every 18 months to 2-ish years or so. Because those interim upgrades, they don't really give you enough performance for the dollars spent. And I just got really bit by the GPU market and the way stock and crypto and prices and all of that changed. I never ended up mining, I think, a nickel on that 3090 Ti before Ethereum was done and mining was unprofitable. I enjoyed gaming on it, but man, 3090 all the way to the 4090 and stick like that. This is when the biggest upgrades come into your system. I think those intermediate refreshes, the Ti's, the Supers, they don't give you nearly as much step function bang for your buck that the big number upgrades do. But in any case, we're here now. That card's gone. The burn, the pain is over, and this thing should just be a monster. I'm excited to see what kind of horsepower this puts into various games. I think one thing to note here, I did go MSI this time. I have had MSI cards in the past. I think I've generally had a good experience with them, and I like the brand. My default brand for a while had been EVGA. Of course, you can't buy EVGA GPUs anymore, so they're immediately out. I considered getting a Founders card, but they seemed to be a lot harder to find. Watching the Discord and watching the stock trackers for cards coming in to be able to purchase, I saw a lot of other brands come through day to day or week to week. Hardly ever saw a Founders cards come through. So I would have been happy enough with that, but it never came available. My other option that I have a preference for and I do like would be Asus, particularly like the ROG Strix card, the top of the line really, I think, in terms of any of these GPUs. However, it also carries the biggest price. That card is something on the order of $2,000, where this MSI is only about $100 over the price of the Founders. There's also some other complicating factors. I only have an 850 watt power supply in that PC, and while I probably will upgrade the power supply the next time I do an overhaul of the system, I wasn't necessarily looking to do that right now. The rated power requirement for this card is 850. I hope that doesn't hold it back in any way, but I appreciated not buying a card that also forced a 1,000 watt plus power supply upgrade into my system right away. So a few $100 savings, being able to run in the system as it is, I think was all nice bonus. I like MSI, again, as a brand, their build quality. I bought their cards, used their cards in the past and had good experience. A good friend of mine has an MSI 3090. He's been running it in his gaming PC since they originally launched very successfully with no problems. And so I think this MSI will probably become like a de facto, next default brand for me with EVGA no longer in the picture. The one thing that I would really like to have seen on the card, though, to give me some flexibility in my spaces is 2 HDMIs. now, like in the 4000 or this 40 series generation, like Asus is the only manufacturer that puts 2 native HDMIs on their cards. And I think that's a real big bummer. I don't understand having like 4 display ports and 1 HDMI. I wish these GPU vendors would balance that out a little bit. Come on, give us at least 2 HDMIs. That would be plenty, I think, for most folks. And I know you can do DisplayPort to HDMI, but in my experience, I've tried that out and it's flaky. There's always something that fails with that. It just doesn't work as well as having the native port, the native cable, no adapters, and all of that. So that would have been a reason to consider Asus, so that I could route the card both to my living room and to my theater space. But alas, we only have 1 HDMI. And I think for me anyway, the living room is going to be the focal point of my gaming. Quite honestly, not the theater. On the LG, it's a better experience, the accessibility of it and all that. 1 HDMI will suit me just fine. And that PC, as I've been talking about in some of my other recent videos, is destined, I think, to end up just in the living room anyway, and that will be the gaming zone. So I'm going to open this up and let's take a look at it. Alright, I'll spare you the unboxing because that's pretty boring. There's honestly not that much stuff in the box, but here we go, man. This card is a beast. They all are nowadays. All our ports, super multi-slot, all those heat pipes. You do have 2 BIOSes on here, a silent mode and a gaming mode. I flipped that right over to gaming right away, especially while the PC is still down here in the basement. Noise doesn't matter, so I can crank up the power, crank up the fans, and it's no bother to anything or anybody. Awesome back plate. I like the black silver color scheme here. Very, very nicely looking, well made. And we got 2 accessories. We got a bracket, and we got the 3 8-pin to 12-pin pigtail there. Of course, my power supply, I'll have to use this until I upgrade to 1000 watt or whatever. With the native 12-pin ports, you have to use the pigtail. So one of my other limitations, or I guess logistics in terms of picking this card, is I did need to hold a specific width limitation. I've got no problem fitting stuff into that fractal back there. However, once I get the PC moved up to the living room, I do want to change the build over probably into a fractal north. It's a little smaller of a case. Can still fit GPUs up to like 335 millimeters or whatever, but it can't hit, or even more than that I think, but it can't fit like the big 350 pluses and all of that. So some of the cards hit up into that level of size, but this thing will fit nicely in that case, as well as the future Fractal North rebuild. That won't happen for a little while yet, but we'll see. Actually, I can't even buy the Fractal North. Looking on Newegg and all the regular places, nobody even sells them. So I'm going to drop this thing in there. Let's fire it up. One interesting piece with this card, I guess, there's no plastic film. No film all over it. I don't know if they did that for environmental reasons or whatever, but it's a brand new card. Bought it from Newegg. It's not used. Boom. Just that easy. I think we'll be looking pretty stable in there. Debating whether to use the bracket or not. I don't think I really need it. This PC doesn't get moved. It doesn't travel or anything like that. Let's get the power connector engaged. Yeah, that'll be nice to have one 12-pin power connector there eventually. And there we are, up and running. Got the PC back up on top of the AV rack there. Lights on, fans on. Get some drivers set up, and then run a couple games. See how this thing clocks out. All right, we're installed. We're up and running up here in the living room. Got the PC and that new card hooked up to the 83-inch LG G2 here. Pretty straightforward setup. NVIDIA driver install. Set up a bunch of the basic settings. I do have other videos on the channel where I talk about my preferred PC and TV settings and all of that. I need to update those, and I will do that in some separate, more detailed videos. I don't want this one to go too long here, but suffice to say there's been some really nice improvements with regards to Windows 11, HDR. We have the HDR calibration tool, and I will be making some content all about that. One interesting thing I had noticed before, in the Windows update there was like an NVIDIA display driver that I don't recall seeing updated in my system before. It wasn't actually like the NVIDIA GPU drivers themselves, but a display driver for the card. But in any case, that applied, no problem. Everything's good to go, and I'm pretty much ready here. I'm just going to fire up a couple games. First up, God of War here. Native 4K, pretty much everything maxed out. Native resolution, ultra, and there we are. 115 FPS, plus or minus a couple, capping it out. It was a good bit lower with the 3090 Ti, but we're holding it here. Why 115, you ask? Well, I have a video about that on the channel, and I will update there. I have found that with VRR settings, putting a max frame rate of 115 is a good cap, because when you have overages, that makes sure that you stay under 120 and under the native resolution, maximum native frame rate of the panel. Yeah, this is looking awesome. We're holding 115. Here we are, Spider-Man. Again, maxed out, ray tracing on, pretty high settings, all things considered here. Looking around the city, 100 plus FPS. This one probably needs a little bit of tuning. I'm sure I've got some settings turned on that I could dial back for no real visual impairments, but get that FPS there clocked up solidly to 115S. At these settings, it does drop a little bit down into the 70s or so, swinging through the city, but I only have so many hands, so I'm showing what I can here. But in any case, significantly higher performance than the 3090 Ti. All right, so I'm gonna end this one here, although you might be asking yourself, what UI is that? Well, that's the Steam Deck UI. Yes, running on my living room gaming PC. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of PC content coming up. I've been kind of optimizing my PC setup quite a bit for living room use with some special like remote power switches. With this UI, controller driven, it actually works really great. And again, I'll be updating on some HDR, some TV settings, and other things like that. I think a lot of people like to really knock PC, Windows, HDR, and to me, I think I have a generally fine experience with it. So, in any case, 4090 installed, ready to do some high-end native 4K ultra settings, maxed out gaming. Pretty awesome. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Otherwise, please do all the regular YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Look down in the description for some ways to support the channel and help me overcome that horrible decision that was buying and in short order reselling a 3090 Ti. Thanks so much for watching. Coming back for more home theater discussion and fun.